Yo, this is your first time here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking over the Razer Raiju Tournament Edition. Now you're probably asking yourself, another controller? Another controller. I found it on a deal and I don't know, I really didn't need it, but I thought I would get it so I could do a little review it, but also just try it out because apparently it seems if you look at my other videos, I'm addicted to controllers. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to unbox it, have a look through it, see what it's like, use it for a while, tell you whether it's worth it and whether it's better than some of the other controllers that I've reviewed. So while you're here, if you do enjoy my content, don't forget to click the subscribe button. It helps me amazingly. We're up to like over 700 now, but only this many of my watchers are actually subscribed. So please just click that button, helps me loads. Like, comment, do what you need to do. And secondly, I want to apologise the fact that I'm wearing a vest. The majority of my viewers are actually in America, and you might not know that Scotland is currently uncharacteristically fucking roasting. So that's why I have to wear a vest, because I can obviously take the hat off, because I wear a hat all the time. Anyway, let's get to it. So, Razer Raiju Tournament Edition. Classically the Razer gear for me. I love the Razer gear, but the Razer Wolverine Ultimate Edition that I'll put here, mine's fucked up. And I liked having the paddles, I liked all that kind of stuff, so we're gonna see how this goes. I actually picked it up for around about, I think it was 50 quid. I'll leave an Amazon link for it, but this was a steal, this was from Costco. But let's fire into it and see what it is all about. Now, as we always know, when I open these products, there's never anything in the box because Razer don't like to splash out on extra things. But let's see, cool. As always, still looks nice in a box. It's a nice shape, quite chunky. It's designed for PS, I'm going to be using it on PC, I'm classically an Xbox player, so I don't know if that's going to be any different for me. It shouldn't, because I just go by feel rather than anything else, but it's my first PlayStation bit of gear that I've had. Everything else has been Xbox. Lovely packaging as always. Love the Razer packaging, that's just what they do very well. Oh, Jesus Christ, it's a weighty boy, fucking hell. I did not expect that. Here it is. Nice piece of kit. It's got the same plastic that seems to get smelly on the Razer controllers from my minging hands. And the two thumbsticks, they feel quite nice. So it's got this pad up here. I don't really know what it's used for. I'm assuming that that's a PlayStation feature. I've never had a PlayStation controller, so I'm unsure. It's got the mechanical X, circle, square, triangle. I'm so used to saying A, B, X, and Y, but if you can hear this. If you're not used to that mechanical, I've mentioned it before, it does take a little bit of getting used to it, but after it, it's really, really good because the throw is a lot smaller than a normal controller, so in theory, you should get there faster than somebody else. Thumbsticks feel good, they're not detachable, which I don't care about, I think it's a gimmick. We've got the D-pad, which isn't just a plate, it's actually got 4 separate little buttons, which again is quite different, but I quite enjoy that, because it means you're not gonna miss if you're pressing any of them. A share button, options button, the classic Razer triggers with I think they're called hairpin, where you can shorten the throw on each of them. Really nice feature, I love it. On my other ones, I've basically just had them put to the short throw for every game that I play, which is probably no good, especially things like Forza, but I keep it there. 2 buttons here. The main reason I actually bought this was for the back triggers, so I did say that I didn't miss them, but I kind of did miss 2, and these are quite nice to hit. They're really, really close. I think we'll start to use them again. And then obviously my 2 favourite buttons, M1 and M2, which I'll probably struggle to buy a controller in the future that doesn't have these 2 on it, because they're just my favourite kind of buttons. It does have a switch on the back that goes from PS4 to PC, which I like, because obviously I'll be using it on PC. It's the slick looking, it looks very, very similar to the Wolverine Ultimate. I might do a comparison between those two, maybe we'll see, but it has basically everything it has, everything the Ultimate has, aside from the little thing at the bottom that gives you the mute options that I never used because I'm on PC. And I think that's kind of the only thing. It is, I'm told, wired and wireless, is that right? It does say wired and wireless, which is a 1-up on the Wolverine Ultimate. I'm feeling like this has everything that the Ultimate does now, so there must be a trade-off somewhere. There has to be, and if there is, I will find it. But yeah, sleek looking as always. Anything else in the box? Would imagine just the big long braided cable. I love this day. They always give you a massive, big, long, high quality braided cable. Stickers, instructions, and that's it. They never do much in the boxes anyway. Yeah, is what it is. But yeah, so I'm gonna start using this. I'll give it a little bit of a test run and tell you kind of what I think of it. But on first glance, I feel like for the price I got it for, it's absolutely smoking the Wolverine Ultimate. And hopefully it's a nice piece of kit. I like it so far, good in the hands. It is weighty though. I don't suppose that'll be an issue. We'll test out the wireless, test out wired, see what it's like, and so, it's been a few days since I did the original intro to this, of when I bought it, said I was going to use it and test it out, and it's been great. It's a great controller, so I'm just going to tell you kind of what I think about it, some of the key features and how I think they're worth it, and so installation. Installation was a bit weird, so it didn't pick it up straight away when I plugged it in. It just didn't want to pick the controller up that it existed. It lit up on here, and then first of all I thought that there's a little switch on the back that goes between PC Bluetooth, PS4 Bluetooth, and USB. I had it at PS4 Bluetooth, so obviously that wasn't going to work. Then I switched it to USB and it still didn't pick it up. It was picking it at because it got like the little green charging, like, guess button here, I guess, charging light. And then I looked on every forum that I could find, and then I installed the drivers. There's a very specific set of drivers that you need to use it on PC. I'll leave the link in the description so you can find it, but that was just a bit naff that it didn't really work straight away. I kind of plugged it in, loaded up Warzone, said nah, it doesn't want to play ball, so is what it is. But I'll leave that there. It just seemed to be in a random link in a forum that I found. You download it, it picked it up straight away and it worked, so that was no issue, but it was just kind of annoying that the first time I did it I had to. So it's kind of similar to any other controller. It is quite chunky, which I quite like. As I mentioned in my other videos, I've got quite large hands and it's, you know, it's nice in the hands that way. The buttons are very tactile and very nice to use, especially the, again, circle, square, X and triangle. They're very nice to use. The throw is very nice. The triggers, very, very short throw once you've got the hair trigger moved. So that little amount there, you can see the difference. So if this wants to focus. So this is it with the short throw on the trigger. This is it with the long, short. You can see the difference there. So for competitive games, obviously that's a great advantage that you've got. Everything's really nice. It feels extremely similar to the Razer Wolverine Ultimate and to the Tournament, to be honest. So now to the key feature, these little back paddles. Now, so these back paddles, right? Interestingly, in here, constantly when you're playing, you're on them all the time, right? So there's no real getting away from them. Your fingers are consistently on them. There isn't really a way to hold the pad and not have a hold of them. Now, it might just be me. It's gonna take me a little while used to knowing that whenever I move these fingers, I'm gonna press these buttons. I'm finding myself sometimes crouching and jumping when I damn mean to crouch or jump, and that's gonna take a little bit getting used to. However, on the complete flip side of that, they're so much better than the paddles on the Razer Wolverine Ultimate. For some context, I'll do a proper comparison, but see here. So this is on the Wolverine Ultimate, and so your fingers are off them, so you physically have to move and press them, so they're quite difficult to get to, and that's a bigger learning curve than on this one where they just sit here. So I'm all for that. I think it's a pretty nice feature, and if you're somebody who's wanting just the 2 paddles, because I think the 4 paddles is probably too much. Good for some folk, but just not for me. But I think I could get used to using these paddles. Now, the one kind of odd thing that I'm still trying to get used to, and this is probably because it's PS, is the position of the start and starting back buttons for map and whatever. But the main button in the top, this big pad thing here, seems to be mapped to the back button, so that's quite nice. But overall, given the price, I'm kind of thinking that this is a much better choice than the Wolverine Ultimate, and it's probably currently going to take my title for best controller for it at the moment. The Bluetooth was fine. I didn't notice any latency in it. I'm assuming that there probably is latency, so when I'm playing Warzone, I'll be using it wired. But I have a Bluetooth card in my PC, and that worked fine. It connected, no issues. No issues at all. Now, there isn't an app for this to remap the buttons that I can find. If you can find it, leave a comment below. I couldn't find one on the PC where I was able to change the buttons. I know it exists because I've seen references to it in forums, but I couldn't find it. So if I do, I'll leave it in the comments, because you'd think to remap these, if you're specifically using it for Warzone, you don't really need to because it's crouch and jump, but up to you. So I have found it currently on Amazon in the UK for 67 quid, but to be honest, given how much I paid for the Razer Wolverine V2 and the Razer Wolverine Ultimate, I think that even if you can find this anywhere in the region of below 100 quid, I'd still say it's extremely worth it, and it plays out both of those in my head now. You know? But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. I think it's a great buy as a controller for, specifically for Warzone, but for any other gaming as well. If you're wanting to pick up a controller to use for PC gaming, could highly recommend this massively, and I think I'd probably recommend it over the Razer Wolverines just now. Well, if you did enjoy this little rundown, don't forget to click that sub button, get me on the road to 1,000 subs, be amazing, thank you a lot. Press like, leave a comment of your favourite controller, whether you think I'm wrong. I know that people like to get very emotional about some of the stuff I said about how rubbish the Razer Wolverine Ultimate was, so fair enough. But yeah, if you can find it, to press the sub button, it'd be very much appreciated. Anything else you want to see a video on, let me know, I'll review any gear.